the first radio station to be brought to northern Uganda, which was at Bobby radio station. That was in the year 1962. They were only playing records. They were only playing music. Music those days was monopolized by the Congolese, the people from Kenya, Kiswahili, and then part of Uganda. There was some music from Uganda by a man called Freddy Kanyike. We used to be very common, and people were enjoying those kind of things here very much.
At that time, in northern Uganda, there was not much of media practice. It's actually, the diocesan newspapers, like the Lubumbashi there, in Ngulu, Acher here, Etoliok in Karamoja, were practically only local papers, and with linking up people, and sharing news. Of course, much of it was to do with church activities and so on.
During that time, it was really very surprising because people were hearing what comes out of the radio, but did not know that it was through recording that brings those kind of things. So we had very many people who came to talk about Ododo. Ododo is the past history which shaped our children to be very honest, to do good things for the parents, and to be good listeners. So all those were collected, and we were promised that within such a period of time, those kind of things would be coming out of Radio Uganda, and people should be attentive, particularly on Tuesday. People became very happy and excited because they never expected their voice to come out of the radio. So that was happening. Yeah. Then after finishing with that, people became very interested in listening to radio, and our home became a base every evening.
As the media continued to grow in northern Uganda, there came a serious threat of repressive regimes. It is said that governments have always been suspicious of independent media.
I do remember having to mind my words for a radio program on Christmas at the time of Idi Amin, when he had problems with those of people of Israel. So I had to go around and not mentioning Palestine and saying, for instance, that Jesus, Onyali Logomoro, these kind of things. And also it was difficult to report about things which are happening, like the execution of people who were just innocent, but just trapped and killed as rebels and so on.
With Idi Amin deposed and the rise of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to power, a war broke out in northern Uganda. For nearly 2 decades, the war between the Ugandan government and the Lord's Resistance Army, led by Joseph Kony, wreaked havoc in this part of the country.
They say in war, the first casualty is the truth. And when I was in Gulu, I think that is what I was always seeing with my colleagues in the other newspapers.
Amidst the destruction of life and property, and at a time when much of the region was cut off from the rest of Uganda, local journalists braved it all to tell the world the story of a conflict that was largely forgotten and neglected by most humanitarian agencies. Chief among them was John MUTO Unou. Having received an appointment in 1993 as a correspondent for the Monitor newspaper, which was later renamed the Daily Monitor, MUTO had nowhere to sit and do his work.
That time, I had no experience at all in writing, except we were told the 5W1H by Charles Young about through circulars, which are always sent through mails to us. There are no computers, no typewriters, and no fax. If we are to take our to Kampala, we send it through the bus. We pay about 5,000 with a telephone number. Then they come and collect it from the bus park. and sometimes the truth come after 3 days.
At around the same time, Pellegrin Otoa had just found a job with a local language newspaper, Rupin, which is now a defunct Vision Group publication, reporting on the war. Neither newspaper had an office in Gulu town, the epicenter of the vicious war. So the reporters decided to hire a small room where they would sit.
That very office that we got I still remember, that is Queen Avenue Street, brought together us. And by the time we had one typewriter, a desk, and two few chairs, where we would actually come and evaluate ourselves. What we evaluate ourselves, especially find out where the story tips were.
We operated informally, I remember, without even thinking of registering it.
The formation of Gulu Press Club brought in and inspired the people who came in to become journalists. You know, one, they knew that their rights would actually be protected, and I think we did a lot to also save other journalists. Especially that time, the Monitor reporters, the people reporting for the Monitor newspaper, were not seen to be pro-government by that time. But because of belonging or because of being together, they eventually got recognized and then, of course, accepted as the journalists that should actually be reporting. Of course, with a lot of caution. So from then, after it was actually proved that yes, as a group we can work so well, other media personalities in other districts, especially in northern Uganda, said, no, look, let Gulu Press Club not be seen as a Gulu affair, but a northern region, because this war was actually was actually affecting the northern region.
The concept of Northern Uganda Media Club to survive, it was based on membership, whereby journalists within the Acholi sub-region or Northern Uganda, or even journalists outside Northern Uganda with interest, you pay up your membership fee and then your subscription fee. This was meant to help, run the organization.
When NUMEC was registered, it came at a time when Northern Uganda was transitioning already. The peace talks in Juba were ongoing, they were about to come to an end, and then there was a USAID program called NUTI. This USAID project had a very big media component. So we shared with them our vision of what we thought NUMEC should be, and they offered us in-kind grants. In-kind grants means we didn't get the actual money, but we got the facilities that we needed. One is they renovated for us an old building and made it very decent and new. And then they bought furniture, they bought computers, and they bought audio equipments, recorders, and all that. And then another important thing that happened is that under NUTI also, we got a radio production studio. So this initial support of the in-kind grant to set up a building and provide facilities for NUMEC was a very, very strong foundation for NUMEC's existence up until now.
Over the years, NUMEC has provided a home to many budding journalists through its newsroom and production studio, offered training opportunities on peace journalism, use of information technology in conflict-sensitive reporting, and other issues, as well as mentorship programs.
Many of the media associations around the country do not provide workspaces for journalists, in their area. For example, I have interfaced with journalists from Kampala. When they come here, NUMEC is the first point of contact.
I had no computers. I had no, sometime at my workplace, I just come direct. I sit at the Northern Uganda Media Club. There's access to internet. I do my work. I carry on my research, and even I could submit, as I also, I'm like a freelancer. I can do my work from here. I submit to other media houses, to other publication organizations.
I benefited from an initiative that was implemented by Northern Uganda Media Club with the financial support from Institute for War and Peace Reporting. Without NUMEC that time, life would not be so sweet on my side and the side of my family members.
The presence of the media center here in Gulu is not only helping journalists but also helping, the general community to communicate, to engage, to dialogue on different issues. Because honestly speaking, at NUMEC Media Center, when you see members of the civil society organizations coming to say, we want to talk about this policy, we want to talk about how the trend of events, for me that is a very positive thing, which I would like to see happen more and more and more.
We have been able to build capacity of journalists in different fields through trainings. We had trainings in climate change. We had training on press freedom. We have had trainings on issues of international justice. We have had trainings on issues of human rights. So we have had quite a number of trainings that journalists have been able to benefit. These trainings were undertaken to help build capacity of journalists so that when they go out, they're in position to produce content from an informative point of view.
The media landscape and the general needs of northern Uganda have since changed, but NUMEC is working to reshape itself.
The most important strategic objective for NUMEC now is continued existence and long-term sustainability. So there are two strategies to ensure that happens. The first strategy is to strengthen NUMEC's governance structure, to have in place a governance structure and a technical team that can work on project implementation and fundraising. The other is to have policies on procurement, on human resource, and on other things like IT, to ensure that NUMEC is just like any other organization. Then there's also a need to develop a strategic plan so that this strategic plan can be the guiding document to inform NUMEC's interventions, because when NUMEC was formed, the terrain was different. Now the terrain has changed, and due to all these changes, NUMEC needs to adapt to these new changes so that it is able to be competitive in raising funding to run media projects.
It is fair to say that NUMEC has set the template for how to develop the skills of journalists from less privileged backgrounds anywhere in Africa. That means if the regional media organizations are strengthened to have the capacity to fill some gaps that are specific to their regional context, the outcome would be a responsible and professional media.
My view on NUMEC, I think it's one of the very vibrant media clubs in this country, or media associations outside of Kampala. With the right skills in place, if they hire the right people and put in effort, I think it can have a great future in mentoring young journalists and trying to fight for press freedom for journalists to work in this region.